Good morning, students. Today we are continuing the endocrine glands, in which the fifth one we have to start today. Yesterday we have learnt about the thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal gland also. So today we are going to study about the hypothalamus, that is the fifth one, hypothalamus gland. The hypothalamus gland, the pituitary gland, and the pineal glands. The three endocrine glands are situated in the skull region or in the cranium and associated with the brain. They are associated with brain. So the hypothalamus is below the thalamus. This is the thalamus, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, then pineal body. So this is the pineal gland, hypothalamus and pituitary, and this is the thalamus, and this is the brain, lower part of the brain. So the hypothalamus is nothing but, it is also a endocrine gland which secretes the stimulating hormones. The hormones are called as stimulating hormones, which are secreted by the hypothalamus, and they are stored in the pituitary gland. Now coming to the first point, hypothalamus is the central part between nervous system and endocrine system. It is central portion or the central part between nervous system and the endocrine system. It works both, that is the nervous part and endocrine part. Both parts are there in the hypothalamus. It works dual, that is the nervous system and the endocrine system. Point number 2, it is the chief ganglion of autonomic nervous system. It's the chief ganglion of autonomic nervous system, and it controls many metabolic activities of the body. Apart from this, it has endocrine function also. It is nothing but, it is the chief ganglion of autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system ganglion is nothing but the hypothalamus, and it controls many metabolic activities of the body. The metabolic activities going on in the body are controlled by this ganglion, that is autonomic system ganglion. Apart from this, it also works like endocrine gland. It has endocrine function also. So apart from the nervous control, it has endocrine function also. Point number 3, it lies in the floor and lateral wall of third ventricle of the brain. But in the third ventricle of the brain, at the lateral side, this gland or hypothalamus lies. Though pituitary is called master gland, controlling the functions of other endocrine glands, the pituitary itself is controlled by hypothalamus. So it is very clear now that the pituitary itself is controlled by hypothalamus. The hypothalamus gland controls the secretions of the pituitary gland, hence it is not a master gland. Hypothalamus has many nuclei, but two are most important. There are many nuclei present in the hypothalamus, but there are two very important nuclei are present. The first one is supraoptic nucleus. Supraoptic nucleus. Nucleus is nothing but a cluster of endocrine cells. It is nothing but a cluster that is called as nuclei. Supraoptic nucleus. This lies above the optic chiasma, from where the nerve fibers arise and move downwards in the posterior pituitary gland. So this lies above the optic chiasma, and the nerve fibers arise from this and move downwards in the posterior pituitary gland. The terminals of these nerves have vesicle-like structures called herring bodies, herring, H-E-R-R-I-N-G, herring bodies, where the hormone is stored, where the hormone is stored. Now coming to the next point, next one, that is paraventricular nucleus. There is one more nucleus called paraventricular nucleus, that is a cluster of the cell. Cluster of endocrine cells is called paraventricular nucleus. Lies just above the supraoptic nucleus with nerve fibers entering down in the pituitary gland like supraoptic nerves. This nucleus, that is a paraventricular nucleus, lies above the supraoptic nucleus, the first one, supraoptic, and the nerve fibers entering down in pituitary gland like supraoptic nerves. Just like supraoptic nerves, here also the paraventricular nerves, they come downwards in the pituitary gland. The posterior pituitary hormone ADH, antidiuretic hormone, is produced by supraoptic nucleus and stored in axon vesicles. A and D, one more hormone of posterior pituitary, that is oxytocin. Oxytocin is produced by paraventricular nucleus of the hypothalamus and stored in the axon ending vesicles. And one more hormone, not A and D, one more hormone, that is oxytocin, is also produced by the posterior hormone produced by the paraventricular nucleus, and this is stored in the axon endings of the vesicle. These two hormones are transported to posterior pituitary through hypothalamus hypophyseal tract. Hypothalamus hypophyseal tract. The hypothalamus controls the secretion of anterior pituitary by secreting releasing hormones and inhibitory hormones. The hypothalamus controls the secretions of anterior pituitary by secreting releasing hormones. It secretes the releasing hormones and inhibitory hormones. The growth hormone releasing hormone is GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone, and the second growth hormone inhibitory hormone GHIH, thyrotrophin releasing hormone TRH, corticotrophin releasing hormone CTRH, gonadotrophin releasing hormone GTRH, prolactin inhibitory hormone PIH. So all these releasing hormones and inhibitory hormones are produced by hypothalamus. These above hormones of hypothalamus are transported to anterior pituitary by the hypophyseal portal blood vessels. By the hypophyseal portal blood vessels, they will be transported to the anterior pituitary portion. Hypothalamus regulates water content of the body by ADH, by the secretion of ADH. Hypothalamus regulates the water content of the body also. Now coming to the sixth one, that is the pineal gland. Pineal gland, epiphysis cerebri. This is the pineal gland. Here you can see the pineal gland. This is the pineal gland, hypothalamus gland, then this is the pituitary gland. This is the thalamus portion. So by the side of the thalamus portion and lateral side, the pineal gland is present. This is also called epiphysis cerebri. Hypophysis cerebri means pituitary gland, and pineal gland is also called epiphysis cerebri. Point number 1. Long back, pineal gland was considered as a vestigial organ of non-function, but now it is known to be an endocrine gland. So long ago, the pineal gland was considered as a vestigial gland. Vestigial means there is no work for that gland. It is a vestigial. It is a workless portion. Workless portion. So this is considered as a vestigial organ, and there is no function of this gland. Hence it was called the vestigial organ. But nowadays it has found that it is an endocrine gland. It is a ductless gland which produces the hormones. It is an endocrine gland of great importance. Point number 2, it is a small reddish structure and about the size of pea, just like a size of pea, small pea-like structure. It is also called as epiphysis cerebri. Point number 3, it is situated in the middle of the brain behind the third ventricle, lateral to thalamus. So it is situated in the middle of the brain behind the third ventricle, lateral side of thalamus. It secretes the hormone called melatonin. Melatonin, melatonin. Melatonin. The hormone plays important role in the regulation of our body rhythms like sleep and wake cycle. Sleep and wake cycle. ಮಲಗೋದು ಮತ್ತು ಎಚ್ಚರವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸೋದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಲಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಇದೊಂದು ಸೈಕಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ ಈಸ್ rhythmically maintained by this melatonin hormone which is produced by pineal gland. It also helps in maintaining body temperature. The body temperature is also maintained by the hormone produced by the pineal gland. Coming to the pancreas, so this is the pancreas, that is the seventh one. This is nothing but the pancreas which is present in the coil of duodenum. This is the pancreas, just like a leaf-like structure which is present in between the coil of the duodenum. Now the seventh one is the pancreas. Pancreas is both endocrine organ and a exocrine organ also. It is an endocrine and as well as exocrine gland. It produces the hormones which are directly poured into the blood vessel without ducts, but with the ducts it produces the digestive enzymes also. So it produces the digestive enzymes. They are called as exocrine substances, and it is the exocrine gland organ also. The exocrine portion of pancreas secretes digestive enzymes and passed through bile duct. So through the bile duct it is passed through and stored in the gallbladder. It secretes the digestive enzymes, the exocrine portion. The endocrine portion of the pancreas secrete hormones which are directly poured into the bloodstream. It is leaf-like or fish-like in structure, which with head, body and tail. Head, body and tail, three portions are there. Coming to the next point, the head lies in the loop of duodenum. The head of the gland, that is the pancreas, lies in the loop of the duodenum of digestive tract. The body lies posterior to stomach portion between tail and head and the tail lies near the hilum of the spleen. Below the lies near the hilum of the spleen organ, that is also one of the organ. So nearby the hilum of the spleen the head lies. The common bile duct passes through the head of the pancreas to join the main duct near duodenum at ampulla of vertex, where the main pancreatic duct enters the duodenum. The pancreas is supplied by branches of splenic and branches of superior and inferior pancreatic duodenal arteries. It is supplied by the arteries, splenic artery and superior and inferior pancreatic duodenal arteries. Coming to the histology, you can see the histology, the figure of the histology here. When we take the section of the gland, it shows the pancreatic acini. These are the pancreatic acinis, blood vessels, then ducts, then islets of Langerhans. These are the endocrine portions. Islets of Langerhans. The Langerhan, the scientist Langerhan, who has discovered these islets. ದ್ವೀಪಗಳ ಇದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ. So these are called as islets of Langerhans. And in the islets of Langerhans, alpha cells, beta cells, delta cells are present. 3 types of cells are present: alpha, beta and delta cells. Now, the first point, pancreas is divided into many lobes. Each lobe is made up of number of pancreatic acini. Each lobe is made up of number of pancreatic acini. In the cross section, numerous blood vessels and ducts can be seen. The ducts are lined by cuboidal epithelium. Pancreatic acini form the exocrine part of the gland and secrete the digestive juices. So the pancreatic acini which are present in the pancreas, they are the exocrine portions, means they secrete the digestive enzymes into the pancreatic duct. The acini are lined by columnar or polyhedral epithelial cells which contain inner granular zone and outer clear zone. Inner granular and the outer clear zone cells are present, polyhedral cells, epithelial cells. So the acini are made up of polyhedral epithelial cells with inner granular zone and outer clear zone. In between the acini, there are a group of specialized epithelial cells which are called as islets of Langerhans. The islets of Langerhans are specialized epithelial cell groups. Islets, just like islets, hence they are called as islets. And the Langerhans is the scientist who has found out these islets and their function, that is a endocrine function of these islets, islet of Langerhans, which produce the endocrine hormones directly poured into the blood stream. The islets of Langerhans contain 3 types of cells. First one, A cells, which are also called alpha cells. They secrete glucagon hormone. Beta cells, B cells or beta cells, which secrete insulin hormone. T cells or delta cells secrete somatostatin hormone. So three types of cells are present in the islets of Langerhans, and these 3 types of cells, they produce 3 different hormones 3 different hormones. Now, coming to the next point, the islets of Langerhans are more numerous in the tail of the pancreas, in the tail region of the pancreas. These islets are more in number at the tail of the pancreas. The alpha cell produces glucagon, beta cell produces insulin, and delta cell produce somatostatin hormones, 3 different types of hormones. Glucagon, coming to the first one, glucagon. Glucagon hormone have major effects on glucose metabolism. They help in breakdown of glycogen in liver, glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis is nothing but breaking down of glucose. So, in the glucose metabolism, this glucagon plays a major role. It also increases gluconeogenesis resulting in decreased uptake of glucose. Hence, it is hyperglycemic hormone. It is a hyperglycemic hormone which increases gluconeogenesis resulting in decreased uptake of glucose. Coming to the next, insulin. It also concerned with carbohydrate metabolism. It is also concerned with the carbohydrate metabolism like glucagon, but its action is opposite to glucagon. Just like glucagon it works, but the action is opposite. Insulin controls carbohydrate metabolism and allows the liver and muscles to store and use glucose. It controls the carbohydrate metabolism and allows the liver and muscles to store and use the glucose. It increases rapid uptake, storage and use of glucose by almost all tissues of the body. Insulin regulates the normal glucose level in the blood and promotes the conversion of glucose into glucagon. Insulin is a protein hormone with polypeptide chain of 51 amino acids. Insulin is nothing but the composition of insulin is, it is made up of protein. It is nothing but a protein hormone with polypeptide chain of 51 amino acids. There are 2 chains A and B which are linked together by disulfide bridges. Disulfide bridges are present and they link A and B chain. Coming to the last one, that is the third one, somatostatin, which is secreted by the delta cells of the islets of Langerhans, inhibits the secretion of both glucagon and insulin. So when it is released, it inhibits the secretion of both glucagon and insulin of alpha and beta cells, insulin hormones, which controls excess secretion. The excess secretion is controlled by this hormone called as somatostatin hormone. Now, coming to the thymus gland. Eighth one is the thymus gland. So the thymus gland, you can see here, this is the thymus gland here, present in the tracheal region at the base of the trachea, where it divides into 2 bronchi. So at this point, this portion is nothing but the thymus gland, and the section of the thymus gland shows different parts here. So you can see this figure in the notes clearly. Now coming to the thymus gland. Thymus is a primary lymphoid gland which is bilobed, pyramidal shaped mass found in the thorax, below sternum and above heart and aortic arch. This thymus gland is a very important gland which is actually a primary lymphoid gland. It's a lymphoid gland. Apart from lymphoid work, it acts as a endocrine gland also. So primarily it is a lymphoid gland. It is situated, it is bilobed, pyramid shaped, found in the thorax, below the sternum and above the heart and the aortic arch. Below the sternum it is found. The thymus is covered by fibrous capsule from which number of septa arise and divide it into lobes. The lobes consist of outer cortex and inner medulla. The lobes, different lobes are there, and it is formed by the fibrous capsule. The thymus is covered by the fibrous capsule from which number of septas arise and divide it into lobes, different lobes, and these lobes consist of outer cortex and inner medulla. In the cortex there are dense collections of lymphocytes supported by branching network of reticular cells. Lymphocytes are also called as thymocytes. Next point, in the medulla, hazel corpuscles present containing central homogeneous material surrounded by concentric layers of flattened epithelial cells. Next point, the stem cell of lymphocytes come from bone marrow and divide in thymus gland to form T lymphocytes. Thus, thymus gland is a site of production of T lymphocyte cells, which are immunologically components stored in the lymph nodes and spleen. Thymus gland produces the following hormones: thymolin, thymosin, thymopoietin. Three hormones are produced by the thymus gland. The first one is the thymolin, Thymalin, thymolin. Thymolin is a thymic hormone produced by thymic epithelial cells. This hormone induces T cell differentiation and entrance and enhances its action. So this thymolin hormone produced by thymic cells, epithelial cells, induces the T cell differentiations and enhances its action. T cells. The second one is thymosin, stimulates the production of T cells. It also assists in the development of beta cells to plasma cells to produce antibodies. It also stimulates growth hormone of pituitary gland, thymosin. Thymopoietin, that is the third one. This is also secreted by epithelial cells of thymus and contain 49 amino acid polypeptide chain. This thymopoietin is made up of 49 amino acid polypeptide chain and has effect on lymphocyte differentiation into T lymphocytes. This hormone affects the skin ages. The hormone affects the skin ages. It affects the body's capacity to maintain youthful function in everything from skin cells to brain cells. Up till the brain cells, from the skin cells up till the brain cells, it maintains the youthful functioning, the youthful function. So this is about the thymus gland, which produces three hormones: thymolin, thymosin, thymopoietin. So three hormones are produced by this hormone. So today we have learned about pineal gland, the first we have studied hypothalamus gland, then pineal gland, then pancreas gland, then coming to the thymus gland. Eighth one is the thymus gland. Tomorrow we are going to study about the testis and ovary, 9th and 10th. Testis, ovary and the endometrial wall, that is the uterine wall. So that we have to study. Three endocrine glands are left. So today we stop here only at the thymus gland. Tomorrow again we will take up the endocrine gland, that is testis, the male sex organ, which also called a very important endocrine gland. So thank you very much.